You ever send a document thinking, yep, this is totally anonymous? Well, what if I told you that just beneath the words you can see, there's this hidden layer of data, kind of like a digital ghost, that remembers absolutely everything? Today, we are diving deep into a story about how that hidden memory had some very real and very public consequences.
All right, let's get right into it. So, our story kicks off with a classic high-stakes situation. You've got a whistleblower who's trying to do the right thing, trying to expose some serious wrongdoing by sending an anonymous tip to the authorities. They thought they'd taken every single precaution.
The year is 2010. This source submits what they are 100% sure is a completely anonymous legal complaint. They've gone through it, they've carefully blacked out or redacted all the sensitive names, all the details in the text. As far as they're concerned, this document is a clean slate.
And here it is. This is the fatal flaw. While all the visible text was wiped clean, the file's hidden data, its metadata, was left completely untouched. It's kind of like sending an anonymous letter, but leaving your fingerprints all over the envelope.
You know, it did not take long for investigators to look just beneath the surface. Using that metadata, they traced the file's origin, the author's digital ID, even the entire edit history. Just like that, the whistleblower's identity wasn't a secret anymore. They were completely exposed.
So how on earth did this happen? You're probably thinking, okay, this must have been some sophisticated hack, right? Some piece of advanced spy software? Not even close. The truth is actually much simpler. And in a way, it's way more alarming. It was a basic, fundamental oversight, built right into the systems that were designed to handle this kind of information.
To really understand this failure, we've got to meet the culprit. It's the data about the data. It's the ghost in the machine of every single digital file we create. So yeah, let's talk about metadata.
So what is this stuff exactly? Well, to put it simply, metadata is basically the story of a file. It's all the data that describes when that file was created, who created it, what software they used, and every little change that was made along the way. It is literally all the context that lives just beneath the surface.
And wow, this right here, this visual just lays it all out perfectly. On the left, you see the document the whistleblower thought they were sending, all scrubbed and anonymous, but look at the metadata on the right. It tells a completely different story, revealing the author's name, the last edit time, and maybe even the GPS coordinates of where it was created. All of that was just sitting there, waiting to be read.
You know, this wasn't just some one-off mistake. Nope, this was the result of a decades-long oversight that started way back when our legal systems began that slow move from physical filing cabinets to digital databases. To really get the mistake, you have to understand that transition.
Okay, so this timeline really breaks down how we got here. We went from paper and microfiche, which, have zero hidden data, to these e-filing systems in the early 2000s. The problem was, these systems were designed to treat digital files just like digital paper. Nobody even considered that this extra data, this metadata, was now part of the official record. And that huge misunderstanding led directly to the unmasking in 2010.
I mean, for years, this extra layer of information was just invisible to the whole legal process. It wasn't considered, it wasn't audited, it wasn't scrubbed. And then, bam, with cases like this one, everyone suddenly realized it had been there the whole time.
So, as you can imagine, this discovery sent absolute shockwaves through the legal and journalistic worlds. It forced a total reevaluation of how digital evidence was handled and what privacy even means in the age of e-filing.
And the fallout? It was immediate, and it was messy. Whistleblowers and journalists were suddenly at risk. Courts had to scramble to update their digital filing rules. And all the companies that build legal software, they rushed to create better tools that didn't just hide text, but actually sanitize the entire file.
So the industry had to react, right? And they came up with a much, much more robust workflow. As you can see, redaction is now a whole multi-step process. It is not enough to just black out the text you see. Now the process requires scrubbing all the metadata, sanitizing the file's history, before a final review can create a truly secure document.
So, here's the crucial point, the big lesson we learned the hard way. A database doesn't just store what you tell it to. It remembers everything about how that information came to be.
This whole incident basically established a new set of ground rules. Digital evidence now includes the full memory of the database. Redaction has to be absolute. It has to cover the file's entire history. And real privacy, it turns out, relies not just on good software, but on people following the right steps every single time.
And that really is the thought I want to leave you with. This whole story was about legal databases, but the lesson here is universal. Every photo you take, every document you write, every file you share has a hidden memory. So if a court's database remembers so much, what does yours?